ancient myth buried deep in the sands.
This week in gaming, Detective Pikachu received a release date of March 23rd for the 3DS in North America and Europe. Final Fantasy XII is coming to PC on February 1st. CES has kicked off. Razer unveiled a smartphone-powered laptop. HTC announced the Vive Pro. Rumors and leaks point to Burnout Paradise getting re-released on current consoles. Paradox has acquired a stake in Hardsuit Labs. The Banner Saga received Chinese language support. Nintendo unveiled a bunch of upcoming Switch games, and some of them really are just old games. And to those attending, happy PAX South. This is 1RBC Gaming Weekly. So, the Consumer Electronics Show kicked off in Las Vegas this week, and some pretty interesting gaming hardware announcements came out. For starters, HTC announced the Vive Pro, an advanced version of the HTC Vive VR headset with a resolution of 2880 by 1600. That's a 78% increase over the current Vive's 2160 by 1200 pixels. The Vive Pro also has an extra comfy head strap, improved built-in headphones with dual microphones for noise cancellation, and, interestingly enough, a pair of built-in front-facing cameras, presumably for augmented reality experiences. Back in 2015 at Indiecade East, I got to see the Leap Motion. The device was a pair of infrared cameras that could be strapped onto the front of any VR headset. It would enable you to actually see your real hands in the world of a video game. It's like a Kinect that you strap onto your face. Anyway, it's looking like HTC has directly integrated this technology into their latest edition of the Vive. Right now, there's no word on price or availability for the Vive Pro, but this is a great upgrade to an already fantastic bit of technology. But wait, there's more. HTC also unveiled the Vive Wireless Adapter, which will let you enjoy room-scale games untethered, so that you won't have to worry about getting tangled in wires when enjoying games in virtual reality. There's no word on the price, but it's set to ship sometime during Q3 of this year. On the software side, HTC announced an update to Viveport VR, their marketplace for the discovery of virtual reality games. It's receiving an update that turns it into a wide-open virtual reality space. You can actually walk around as though you're in a virtual mall in search of content. You'll be able to walk right into games in order to demo them. It's definitely a step in the right direction for VR gaming. Moving over to peripherals, one neat item that was shown off was Razer's induction-based Mamba mouse, a mouse that is completely wireless. Beyond that, however, it's also batteryless. This incredibly lightweight mouse is powered via its mouse pad. Honestly, I'm not personally sure of the appeal of such an item beyond its novelty. That's just my opinion. The thing is, though, I don't see anything particularly special about this mouse. Sure, it's cool that it's totally wireless, but take it away from the mouse pad and it becomes totally useless. Part of the appeal of a wireless mouse is, in my opinion, being able to put it on just about any surface. Razer unveiled another interesting bit of hardware at CES this year, and they're calling it Project Linda. Now, this is a smartphone dock for the Razer phone that was released earlier. Now, this isn't a totally new concept. Smartphone docks have existed for a long time. What sets this one apart, however, is the fact that it comes in the form of a laptop computer. Again, Razer isn't exactly the first to this idea. Back in 2011, the Motorola Atrix pretty much did the same thing, but what sets Razer's apart is that you plug in the smartphone to the spot where your touchpad would ordinarily be on a laptop, and so your touchpad also functions as a sort of touchscreen. So I think that this has potential for photo editing and other creative work. Will this be any good for gaming? Honestly, I'm not sure. There don't seem to be very many Android games that could make use of such a niche set of features. I could definitely see certain PC games making use of the second screen, particularly for PC strategy games. The problem is that the laptop is a sort of dumb terminal. It doesn't actually have any hardware inside it besides a battery, some connectivity ports, that big beautiful screen. It's really just being powered by the smartphone. That said, I can't help but wonder if this sort of technology is going to make traditional laptops less appealing to most consumers. Think about it. If you're not playing games that require a bunch of processing power, or editing videos in 4K, or crunching Bitcoin, perhaps a smartphone and laptop dock are really all you need. If you only game on consoles and really only use your computer to send emails and type documents, this sounds like a pretty appealing option. What do you think? Is this all just a bunch of magic smoke, or is it the way that the industry's heading? Hit us up on Twitter at OneRuleBeCool, and be sure to share your thoughts. We've got a whole bunch of Nintendo news, as this week, the company held a Switch-focused Direct, and announced a number of original games for the system, including Mario Tennis Aces, which is set to be released early this year, and Nintendo's promising that this Mario Tennis game is going to have more intuitive gameplay, as the character animations are going to play a more pivotal role in your strategy. You're going to have to pay careful attention to the way that each character winds up for their hits. How they smack the ball will be determining where it's heading. How much love did Nintendo put into this game? 15 weeks? 30 years? 40-something? Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't resist making a tennis joke. Moving on. Coming out on March 16th, 2018, is Kirby Star Allies. Now, this Kirby game features a system that allows Kirby to turn monsters friendly. Up to 4 at a time, in fact, which, incidentally, is how many players can also enjoy this platformer at a time, as it has co-op. The other well-known but very much underrated Nintendo platform, Donkey Kong, is getting a Switch title. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which previously was released on the Wii U back in 2014, is now set to hit the Switch on May 4th, and it features a beginner-friendly mode starring Funky Kong. Yet another underselling Wii U game was announced for the Switch, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, which, in case you haven't heard of it, is an odd title that combines the absurd horde fighting of a Dynasty Warriors title with characters from The Legend of Zelda. This edition of the game includes all previously released DLC, along with Breath of the Wild-based cosmetics for Link and Zelda. It's set to be released this spring. Speaking as a Wii U owner who doesn't yet own a Switch but plans to, I'm not feeling very jealous that Nintendo is pouring all the love and hand-me-downs on the Wii U's younger brother. It does sting a little that they took away our room, the Miiverse. But that's life. Have fun, Switch owners. I'm not jealous. Speaking seriously, however, it does seem that certain Wii U owners are disappointed that Nintendo is showering so much love on the Switch, where it seems like they completely forgot about Wii U. On the one hand, I can definitely understand their frustration. They invested in a Nintendo product, and Nintendo sorta dropped it. On the other hand, the Wii U just didn't sell that well, especially when compared to its older brother, the Wii. As a result, there are a whole bunch of great Nintendo games that people haven't tried out. Why not bring them to the Switch, which has become Nintendo's fastest-selling console? Those are my thoughts on the matter. What do you think? Hit us up on Twitter at OneRuleBeCool, and be sure to share your thoughts. Regarding that Paradox news, the publisher best known for their strategy games and the oft-forgotten Airfix Dogfighter this week announced their acquisition of a $2 million 33% stake in the Seattle-based developer Hardsuit Labs. Hardsuit is the developer of cyberpunk FPS Blacklight Retribution, and has done work on A Hat in Time, Gigantic, may Motiga rest in peace, Abduction, and Google's mobile VR project Daydream. Paradox CEO Frederick Wester made the statement that since this is a minority acquisition, Paradox will act more like a silent partner, and the studio will continue to operate like it has been previously. Essentially, the purpose of the acquisition is to increase Paradox's capacity to, quote, manage our portfolio of brands in a strategic way. Basically, what they're claiming is that they bought a piece of this company for the sake of their infrastructure. Based on Hardsuit's history, it appears that they have experience doing some of the work behind the scenes on games. Paradox likely has them in mind for a big upcoming title. The multiplayer servers for PS4 ARPG Gravity Rush 2 were scheduled to be shut down on January 19th. The game didn't sell particularly well, but it's pretty sad to see that it was going to be shut down after only a year. The game's fans, few as they are, were quite passionate and launched a campaign, tweeting hashtag Don't Forget Gravity Rush. Apparently the campaign worked, as the game's shutdown has been delayed to July 19th, 2018 at 1 AM EDT. This isn't the first time a fan campaign has saved a game. Project Rainfall quite famously gave Xenoblade and a couple of other RPGs Western Wii releases. All it took was the fans begging like pathetic dogs on the internet. Sorry, that was mean. So, were you part of this campaign, and if so, are you relieved to be receiving an extra half year to enjoy the game with all its features? Hit us up on Twitter at OneRuleBeCool and be sure to share your thoughts.
Folks, welcome back to the Buyers Channel. So excited right now to be bringing you a piece of technology we have on your screen. You can see it on your screen right there. TV video game, play it on your Nintendo Switch. A video game called Super Meat Boy. Now, I'll admit, I don't know a lot about video games, but I know quality. And this is the highest quality item that I have ever seen in my entire life.
In-game releases this week, Super Meat Boy, Super Meat Boy, did I say it right? Came to the Nintendo Switch. Now, in case you've not heard of it, this is a precision platformer in which you play as a little boy made of raw meat, trying to save his girlfriend made of bandages. It can be very frustrating to play because of how precise your movements need to be. That said, it's also a very fair sort of challenge. When you fall off the edge of a cliff, you know it's your fault. So if you're looking for a tough, enjoyable platformer, you may have fun with Super Meat Boy. If you've already played Super Meat Boy across multiple platforms, but you're looking for a new excuse to buy it again, this new edition of the game features a multiplayer racing mode. How could you possibly say no to that? A crowdfunding campaign that caught my eye this week is for a game called Lingotopia, a 3D adventure in which you're lost in a city and you don't speak the language of its inhabitants. Yes, this is an educational game, but before you run out of the room screaming, I assure you there's very much game to it. If you don't believe me, you can download the demo from the game's Kickstarter page for free. Lingotopia is set to come to Mac, Windows, and Linux in the second half of 2018. I'll let the game's developer explain it from here.
In order to begin to understand what they're saying and to feel at home in this strange place. This is the current state of the game. There are a few city districts to explore and characters to talk to. By clicking on objects in the environment, you can learn words. So if I click on a tree, I learn the word for tree. The other way to learn words is by talking to the city's inhabitants. Words you know can be translated during conversations. So the more words you know, the more you can understand and begin to feel at home in this strange city. The feedback about the game has been very positive so far, and there's a demo you can download, so feel free to give it a try. Hopefully that will convince you to back the game and help me. There are currently over 20 languages to choose from smaller languages like Basque and Finnish to more widely spoken languages like Chinese or French. These translations are only partially complete, however, and getting more translations and voice recordings is one of the reasons I need this Kickstarter to succeed. There are a few reasons why I wanted to make a language learning game. The first is that I often have a guilty conscience when playing games, since there are other, more constructive things I could be doing. Also, games are just a great way to teach people, and the very best games are ones that have a certain feeling or experience they want to convey to the player. With Lingotopia, it's the feeling of immersion and being lost in a different culture. And unlike other language learning apps that teach you abstract sentences like, the dog is brown, with Lingotopia, the dialogue is tied to the city and its inhabitants. So you're learning tales of regret, revenge, and loneliness. And this really motivates you to try and understand what the characters are saying and talking about. But Lingotopia is also very much a game, and it's a lot of fun. I've poured a huge amount of love and attention into the city, and I think you're going to be able to discover many wonderful things while exploring it. However, I need your help to finish it. The translations and voice recordings I need cost money, and the game must need my undivided attention in order to become the language learning tool it deserves to be.
Indie publisher TinyBuild unveiled a really interesting looking new strategy game called Outpost Zero, which they pitched to me as StarCraft combined with a multiplayer survival FPS in which players land on a planet, gather resources, participate in some good old-fashioned base building, and assemble a robot army to take on other bases and fight against space pirates in order to guarantee the survival of mankind. I have to say that the game's aesthetic is very strong. I like the look of the robots and the world, and the premise itself sounds pretty exciting. There's no word on when this game is coming out other than this year, but you can sign up for the pre-alpha at outpostzerogame.com. According to the press release I received, everybody who signs up for the pre-alpha gets in, so check it out if this sounds like your kettle of fish. Personally, I am really excited over the concept of the game, though I have to say that something like this almost sounds like it would be more fun as a single-player game with a well-crafted, long-running campaign mode. A story about terraforming a planet with a colony of robots sounds like it would be a much better story than any sort of multiplayer survival experience. Not to put down the multiplayer survival experience. In fact, I think both could work very well together, but maybe as a smaller co-op thing to enjoy with friends instead of 100 random strangers. An announcement that took me by surprise this week was for The Raven Remastered, a remake of point-and-click adventure game The Raven: Legacy of a Master Thief, which was released a mere 5 years ago. I do have some pretty fond memories of playing this game back in the day. I can hardly believe it's been a half-decade. Now, the trailer for the game's remaster is just the opening cutscene, and in my opinion, it doesn't look all that amazing. In fact, I'm getting a bit of an Uncanny Valley vibe from the characters. Hopefully the in-game graphics will be better. It does seem a little weird that a remaster of the game is coming so soon. I can understand re-releasing it on current-generation consoles, but this is being billed as though The Raven was some sort of classic-era 90s point-and-click, when in reality it only came out a few years ago. The Raven Remastered is coming to the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Windows, and Mac on March 13, 2018. If you'd like to see some comparison screenshots between the original game and the remaster, we have them up at onereallycool.com right now.
Where is it?
It's there.
Oh, good. Then he hasn't got it yet.
You mean the Raven's heir?
Shh, turn it off. He's gonna steal the eye.
But how do you know?
Doesn't matter. All that matters is that we catch him. Do you understand?
Yeah, but
Do you understand? You and me, mate, we'll be heroes. All right, now, we just have to...
what?
Finally, we leave you with the latest trailer for Civilization VI: Rise and Fall. This week, Firaxis unveiled Georgia and its leader, Tamar. That's it for this week's game news. For all the greatest game news, reviews, interviews, and more, be sure to follow at OneRuleBeCool on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me at Jordan_Cameron for my own views.
You receive an additional bonus on top of your Golden Age bonus. This makes it easier for Georgia to achieve and maintain Golden Ages throughout the game. Georgia's unique building is the Tsike, a replacement for the Renaissance walls. These are built at a lower production cost and provide faith. Their unique unit is the Kevsereti. This melee unit gains a combat bonus on hill terrain and ignores all hill movement penalties. Tamar's unique ability is Glory of the World, Kingdom, and Faith. After declaring a protectorate war, she gains faith during the beginning turns of the war. Also, she gets extra free envoys when sending envoys to city-states of her majority religion. Nestle your cities into hilly terrain to fully take advantage of the Kevsereti's bonuses. And build your walls high for an impenetrable defense. Tamar is a fierce but pious warrior queen with a versatile style that could lend itself to any victory type. Will your walls outlast your enemies? How will you lead Georgia in Sid Meier's Civilization VI: Rise and Fall?